What's up, Celestial Kingdom? Sir Death Lily Megatron Sunshine here with special guest, His Majesty, Sir Dizzy Vertigo.
Right.
Yeah, got it.
Thanks for having me on.
Woo! I guess today we're just going to do a little video breakdown or review from our most recent Kingdom tournament of some sort. It wasn't a quals or a weapon master, but it was, I guess, would that have been reign what, 61, 60? Is this reign 60 or 61? That
Yeah, I believe we're on reign 62, actually.
Okay, so if we're on 2, then I guess that would have been 61. So woohoo. Yeah. And we're just going to run through a video or two. We'll see what time allows us here. And hopefully that is entertaining. So I'm going to go ahead and get this shared here. In the future, if this becomes something that is popular enough and people enjoy, we will go out of our way to, well, do this better. Better streaming service, better quality, better, etc. But for the time being, hopefully this will be a fun place to start. And we'll just kick off this thing and we'll just kind of pause and play and do what must be done as the need arises. Yeah, it was quite the day. It was like 88 degrees, 88% humidity, semi-forced mask requirements. Dizzy, it says you are muted. I don't know if you know that you are.
Yeah, I am. I'm jumping back and forth on the mute just to make sure I don't catch any background noise.
Very cool.
Yeah, it was quite the day for sure. As you can see in the background video there, that's just a cliff and trees go up it. And to the right, there's a river and there's no breeze at all at any given time. That was substantial.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It was a 5 out of 10 event site, I suppose. It met our needs for what we needed, but it was not stellar. I guess to preface this before things kick off here, which is soon in the next couple of seconds, I'm sure. They had a ring. It was kind of hard to see in the video if you weren't paying attention to it. It looks like they were calling death if you ringed out. So that's kind of wild. And there's
the whole death on a ring out wasn't making much sense to me, especially since it was just a small circle. The other thing that I really like about it as a fighter, whenever you get into tournaments, you really like to know the rules ahead of time, so you know what is allowed and what isn't allowed and how to bracket. When this was presented to me, this was just a, hey, you're going to do Ironmans, then you're going to do your brackets, and we'll do the warlord style, so to speak, tournament. After the first bracket, which was single sword, we moved into a your kills. The overall kill count for the entire tournament is what counts. So if you had 1 kill in single, you had 2 kills in flow, and you had 2 kills in sword and board, your points for the tournament were 5.
Checks out. I checked the math on that one for you.
Thank you.
Ooh, tough stuff. Yeah, interesting change of format. We've been pretty, I guess, not set in stone, but whatever. It's been kind of the same thing for a while now for us in the CK, where it's generally a like a Warlord Sports or Ironman Bear Pit style pool into single elimination brackets, best 2 out of 3, and then points for first, second, third, place and everything. In this case, you're absolutely right. They just counted up the amount of kills that you managed to get between all 3 categories. And if for some reason there was a tie, which there was a tie for this tournament, they broke it by the longest streak from one of the combatants, which personally I think is a bummer, but more specifically a bummer for the people that are trying to seek awards or get tournament wins at like kingdom level. So it's kind of...
Absolutely. And Sir Weasel there sitting down on the ground beside, I guess that's Lord Constantine. My understanding is the tournament was just kind of sprung on him, so he stepped in. So really and truly, once I found out there were so many mishaps with the tournament, I just really embraced it as, hey, we're just going to have fun. we're just gonna hit nerds. There's nothing on the line here, which is not the mentality you have at, let's say, Weapon Masters, War Masters, and big Kingdom tournaments, right?
Oh, absolutely. And it's it is something that even our game designers, our volunteers, our event crats, our people, it's a chance to practice some of these things and to make them a little smoother, or to try different things, to experiment a little bit and see if they are popular, if they work out. Maybe they find a new way to do something that we didn't realize was better. And this particular instance, I would have changed maybe a couple of things, but it mostly seemed to have run smooth, and it gave people an opportunity to have a tournament to play in. So okay, so anyways, just backing up a few seconds here to the start of this, because Thad essentially goes on a big streak right off the bat here. And it's interesting to see, because if you listen to the peanut gallery, like, oh, look, a dark side, who would have thought? Or, something along those lines. And Thad tends to throw those quite a bit. And I feel like the people that he is fighting in this tournament are ones that are fairly familiar with him. And I feel like, and some of this is high and, in hindsight and whatever. And some of that's just, from getting to fight him in the past myself. It's interesting to prepare for an opponent like that. So, but as we see here, it's pretty straightforward. It's a good shot. Our guys start. He throws his little whoop, and there you go. Dark side, very
And he's just walking him down too, right? That's the theme you're going to see through all of this. Everybody's very, very stagnant, walking in a straight line. Nobody gets off any angles, and he just walks them down. You got to switch angles if you want to beat that dark side.
Now, I give Ivan some credit here. He picked at something there. He was trying to sneak a shot in. Very cool. You got to make those attempts. And then, good kudos on Thad for ending on the leg. Just, free leg. Oops.
Yeah. And that Ivan kid, he really excites me, man. That guy, he looks like he's excited to fight.
Oh, high hopes. He's making great improvements, and it's awesome to see him traveling around and getting out there. The big Herc taking that free leg. He's just a little too close here, in my opinion, though, right? Especially when he's got so much. We'll watch this engage a couple of times here. Also, I want to comment on some of the just kind of walking forward or not moving a whole lot. Again, I think it really played into the high heat and humidity for us on that day, with very low shade. We're all huddled into this one big tree in hopes that it gives us some protection, but still super hot, so people weren't moving so well. But anyway, so Mark got this nice free leg. It was a good place to start. And let me see if it was to start the fight. Okay, the start of the fight's at like 206. Pop, and he retreats, gets some distance. A little risky, because I know there were people getting killed on that ring out. But then look how close he is, right? He's in that danger zone already. Like, he's already close enough to be able to get hit.
Yeah.
And Mark's got so much range, like it's just an interesting thing. So I guess my thoughts or advice to him would be that he could have probably taken a full step back and still been in a pretty good position, since he does have generally so much reach.
Yeah, if he puts his left foot where his right foot is, he can still bait with that front leg in the same stance. And he's still got plenty of room to hit Thad there. I don't know if in this video, if you can slow it down to the 0.25, but you'll see that little jerk movement that Herc is really kind of notorious for. And if he does that with his left foot where his right foot is right now, this is money all day long, and he walks away W.
All right, let's take a look at that 2.5. Let's see. Oh, and that's really kind of unfortunate, because he might have snuck a Simo, but it looks like he ended up catching that outside shield edge and just not making it to the arm or body. Like, just ended up too shallow.
Yeah, I agree, and it's real hard to see from this angle. So,
well, yeah,
it could go anyway, but he definitely is smart enough to try to trade a leg for an arm there. But again, if that's what you're banking on, it's not a safe movement. And
look how the cross ended up being, right? Like, now, obviously, I do want to say this about this video before anyone goes out of their way to be like, oh, look at the cheaters or something of that nature. Uh, Angles are weird. Videos can lie. The people who know what happened are the two people that are involved in the fight. It starts with the person who's getting hit, the person who threw the shot, and then it goes to the peanut gallery and then like cameras, in my opinion anyways, about accuracy of what we're actually seeing. Some camera angles can be stellar, but it's rarer.
Yeah, there's two fighters in the ring. They're calling shots. There's two Reeves on either side. Both of them have a chance to call something. These videos shouldn't be here's cheater, cheater. It absolutely should be how can we improve? And that is
Yeah.
the focal point.
Absolutely. So like in this case for Mark, now again, like you said, kind of a casual tournament, right? Like, you know, some people aren't in garb, some people are hanging out. It's super hot. Like Mark, normally when he's geared up to go to one of these things to try to win, you know, he's dressing good, he's feeling good, he's bringing knee pads and stuff. Like he's coming prepared to fight and win. In this case, he's in, you know, basketball shorts, no knee pads, and he didn't want to drop on that ground. I don't blame him. It's hard as a rock, and it was actually kind of soft that day from all the flooding, but whatever. Point is that he didn't want to drop hard, and he might have had a chance here to not lose on like a leg, or you know, it might have just been a board leg or something, or his sword leg in that case, or whatever. And then he might have been able to drop down on him and not let him necessarily abuse that punches cool advantage in this instance, where he made all that distance between them. He could have dropped down, and I guess he would have been punched, I suppose, but you know, whatever. He'd be on top of his opponent and not just getting the free double leg done
Yeah,
to him.
peanut gallery there. As soon as his shield would touch the other shield, I would have fell back, caught myself a COC. Just kidding.
This is turning into soccer or
Oh
football.
yeah, you gotta flop a little.
And then I had high hopes for this one, like watching Noah come up, because he's done pretty good with people who like to put their equipment underneath their equipment or stack their equipment up. And so I was like, okay, I think Noah can pull this out. If he gets in there, I think it's going to be good. And I feel like we'll see, because I did watch this once and I was there, but I feel like he doesn't commit to his press, or maybe he gets hit when he tried to commit. And I think that cost him the fight here. But
and the attire here points out the Sir Megiddo on how hot it is, right?
Yeah.
Normally this guy is to the nines. He's got on his pants, he's got on his, boots and his little coif and tunic. But he's like, man, it's too blazing hot for this.
Oh yeah, no, he's normally, yeah, absolutely dressed all the way up. So it was hot. But yeah, so I think what I kind of guessed happened, and I slowed it down. We'll just kind of go back here. He ends up kind of picking at him, I think, from kind of that mid range, right? Starts a step, cool, but look at his shield. Did you see how wild that was? How wide and high it went? Got worried about it going to the other side, and now this looks like it should end up in body like all day, and I think that he sneaks it out here. And I think, yeah, he's just too far away and gets caught. But they maintain this no man's land kind of fighting, where they're just like, sort of in each other's range. They both kind of hit each other, and Megiddo's commitment to that press ended up not being super strong, I think, and that kind of cost him, I think. Whereas he normally does super well with that.
Yeah, I honestly think that he has been putting in so much time at the 512 dojo that he thought that possibly a spin or something's coming out of that. And so it's normally a safe move for him to do that and get out of the way. But it's not when you got a guy that's just going to dark side twice to the same area. And if you're not practicing that, you're going to get sniped.
Oh, and what a bummer that he dug to the cross. Like he's got, that's a nice big step, but all went in hopes. Kudos to Thad. He made a nice little retreat on Noah's press. I know Noah got hit throwing that cross. Honestly, a little patience might have been key there too. He could have probably still even gotten away with throwing like that cross if he had been able to close that distance. But we'll never know. It was kind of neat to see. And then Dizzy, the man, the myth, the legend himself. Again, high hopes here. I was like, okay, Dizzy will catch him. Here we go. And see, and you're moving here, like, right? You started trying to put some effort in, get some laterals in. Just shy on that cross. Oh, look at you go. Oh. And he must have snuck it in on that hip on that first shot.
Yeah, whenever I crossed up, I took a huge bounce. I don't want to say blame new cleats, but that day, fresh pair of shoes. Number one rule of tournament fighting: don't change anything. Go in with stuff you're used to. So as we mentioned, right, I seen everybody stay online on this guy. I didn't want any part of that. I knew he was going to go up high. I was hoping to catch him in the shoulder on that exchange.
Yeah.
And then just did not get away from the high cross there at all.
Which is it's just so risky on
Yeah,
against
absolutely.
that, right? Like that, but it's not to say never do it, especially against like this opponent, because you got to play into their gimmicks some,
Yeah.
right? Like you can take advantage of that if you.
And this is a good learning experience too. If you roll that back just a little bit here,
Yeah, gotcha.
if you don't mind.
Oh, absolutely.
So, and again, you can learn a lot from losing. That's where I've learned a lot of my items from. So right here, faked over to the side, try to exchange, stop right there. So all of that weight transition going down, hopping on one foot, that's absolutely not necessary. And if I would have corrected instead of throwing a second high cross there, my arm would have been down where his sword is, and my weight would have been back down on this right striped leg, right? That's the proper thing to do there. Don't cross when you make that jump. So yeah, I'm going to have him blocked out. Rely on your shield, rely on your equipment. It's blocked. I mean, that block is there all day. Instead of hopping, come right back down with your feet and move into it, and you're safe.
I wonder if you could see around his shield when you were already up on that first cross and decided I can see it. Like, it's subconscious. It's one of those instinct kind of things. There it is. I'm going to throw it again because I can see it. I'm so close. It ends up being a trap.
Mentally, here's what went through my mind mentally. I recall it right away. Is I felt that impact, and I was like, oh, I didn't get a shield because I seen his elbow back out there, and I was like, I'm not gonna worry about doing the rest of my defense. I'm gonna go in the offensive, banking on that I sniped that first arm, and everything else is late, right?
I got you.
That was a poor mentality thing. And like I say, to be safe there, instead of doing all that reaching, whenever I go offline, I had my good block there. I should have come back board side there for him on his board side and let my momentum carry me through and that angle I was already taking instead of trying to switch directions midair. That's not something a big dude should be doing anyways, much less a small guy.
Yeah, changing direction in air, I hear is pretty difficult. Well, because even like let's look at Thad, right? You start to make your move, and does he kind of jump into this?
Oh yeah, he does.
Yeah,
He bites
both feet
exactly
off,
where I want
right?
him to do. Yeah. But again, like I say, mentally, I was like, oh, I got this. I don't have to worry about defense anymore. And that's the absolute worst thing to do.
Well, we're playing a game of inches or not even inches, I guess. I suppose it can be less than that, but that could have gone so differently, like, right? And you're even kind of choked up on that sword. I wonder if you had choked up on the first shot or not. Like, would that difference in length had made the difference in that first shot catching like that elbow versus missing?
If you don't choke up on that shot to get over, you will hyperextend your elbow if you make contact with anything that's not soft. So
I suppose that could be bad.
I've done it time and time again. So right there, my hand
Oh,
switching
I see.
directions. Right. So it's trying to get in there and dig, and that's just not where you want to be.
Dang. Yeah, but you're right. Absolutely, tons to pick up and learn from this kind of thing. There's something satisfying about hitting somebody who likes to throw under and punish guys who cross. Like, to hit them with a cross is kind of fun because they're usually so good at dealing with it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Then kudos to Angel. Here she comes, immediately tries to get off a center, and then here comes her press. But there's a press into a cross. I wonder if she made that decision because that shield came so high up. And she got her hand up first. She could have gone to board shoulder, but I wonder if she saw the shield come up and decided, oh crap, that's going to be blocked, and tried to turn it into a cross instead.
Yeah, I think absolutely. I think Tesla there, whenever she came over with that shot, she sees his board move up and she's like, I got to switch directions with my hand and then I'm good. If she stays low, she wins. She blocks out with her hand and catches that hip wrap. That's a W the other way. But I think just visually speaking, when that shield went up, she thought she had an opportunity to to beat it.
Yeah, I bet you're right. uh, she's even smiling about it. You know, like we don't have to watch this whole thing in slow motion, of course, but it is kind of fun to see the little pieces to it. And well, pretty
That's a
classic.
newer guy too, right?
Yeah,
So
Vinny.
Vinny, yes, it's a Trader's Gate guy. Um, it, so far, everything I've ever seen, that guy just plays for fun, and hey, don't ever lose that.
Oh, it's absolutely great. I mean, and even here, he got a little bite, and that's kind of the pro to being. Uh, I want to new. It's weird to say it that way, I guess, is instead of saying it that or whatever. But like he starts to do something, it can be hard to predict. There's all this bite, all this move. Thad's looking for his shot, but Vinny's got like look how smart that is. That shield's sitting right there on his sword hip. Right, his hand is really high up, you know, trying to do whatever he can in his toolbox here to be successful, looking for something. Thad tries to come around the other way when he didn't get what he wanted with that. And Vinny went for a board shoulder instead of a cross. Like he tried something different, and like the several people ahead of him all ended up dying, basically crossing. So pretty cool to see that the new guy, you know, quote unquote, went for something different, and you know, more
Yeah,
power to him.
absolutely,
Very, very, very
absolutely.
cool. So Scorpion, right? He is
Squire versus
that's
Knight
yeah.
fight here, which is real.
And
It's always
so
funny.
we're definitely going to break that down because here comes lots of confidence, right? Like you can just kind of see it on Scorpion's, like in his body language, right? Like he's ready to go. You know, I'm sure he's got plenty of fights with him. Gets a nice opening block, comes in super low, and then oh, good block. He's looking for that. Manages to sneak an arm in on that second shot. Very, very slick. And now he's got this advantage, right? He's so confident. He's walking right into him, though. Starts his shot. Good block on Thad. And that's a great call on him because gosh, does that, I mean, again, videos we've determined are not always accurate, but it sure looked like it came out onto the low part of that cross, maybe just in the arm. And honestly, I think he might have been calling death on arms in there as well, anyways.
Yeah.
But
No, I mean, you're absolutely right. He had the enthusiasm. He had the tool set to get that W. Um, and I think just the overconfidence and a quick shot by a veteran player just kind of, and I guess if you were going to say one thing at this level, that is the difference between a night fighter and a non-night fighter, right? That's got hundreds of tournaments under him, and I don't think his Squire. I can't remember Chris's name, but
Scorpion.
that's right, Scorpion. Um, but it's just one of those learning things. You either got to make your mind up if you're going to rush in, then go, do it, press them real hard as soon as that shield goes down. If not, you can't just mosey in there.
Yeah, if you're not Johnny on the spot, I think is a saying, you might get hit for it. Also, look where he chose to throw, right? Like he decided to throw at the arm or high body or like, you know, into torso. Or maybe even he was shooting deeper than that and was trying to catch like the top left hand shoulder. That front leg, it's risky, but like you know, it wasn't throwing directly into his hand, at least, right? Like right into that block. And he's reaching and he's extended. He had made a step already. So like there's some small stuff that could be worked on. A positive, a thing to try in the future for this is a half step up before that final step. That way he can close a little more distance and he has options then of well, one just being deeper in general, not having to reach nearly as far to get to the same hit location. Like he wouldn't have had to be so exposed to his opponent in this regard, especially
Yeah,
because Thad was heavy on his
absolutely.
front leg, right? I guess my last point. So I want to make sure you get to talk, but Thad ended up heavy on the front leg, right? Which means that it did become a viable target instead of throwing up at the hand. And fake to that would have been just as good, probably. But
Yeah.
either way, what a
Well, I was going to say there, if Scorpion doesn't take a full leg and he doesn't, well, full step, and if he doesn't hyper, if he doesn't extend that elbow the entire way, if he just takes that half step and either pumps low for the leg and then comes up to the elbow, or pumps to the elbow and goes to the leg, because Thad's got so much weight on that front leg during that exchange, it's going to be harder for him to shift out of it right there. All the weights planted.
there
It's
it goes.
perfect time.
Yep.
Perfect time.
And that's so hard. I mean, we're talking about, like, we're watching this at, a quarter speed kind of thing, but like their fight really was quite fast, and that's hard to see in the moment.
Oh yeah, for sure. And that's where your combat computer is. It's got to be in that Rolodex already, right? Before you do anything, you got to know situation.
We'll do this stuff at normal speed, and then I think I can slow down if it's interesting. I don't remember exactly. I was trying to just be mindful that Thad would throw his dark side and everything, and then I guess like we'll have to slow it down to see where I felt like he had made enough contact, or at least a legal shot to me. The people watching and my opponent both felt like I didn't get hit with a very good shot, or a shot that they would have deemed to be legal. I'm generally happy to just say, okay, sure. If it, and frankly, what he hit me with in this regard, it was enough to register that I had been touched by something. In the moment, I would have said, like, my reflex was to say, okay, something has touched me, I should just take this. It's the right or honest thing to do, at least by the way that I like to take my shots. Did it make 2 of 3 things? It probably like deflected. Maybe there's an audible pop, but it's hard to say, right? Especially in the heat of the moment. But it was enough where my opponent felt that he didn't make good contact. So that's pretty much what my decision was, to, adhere to his kindness.
And I mean, that's okay to say too, right? Like as a fighter, you know what is and what isn't a shot, or what is or isn't good. And it's one of the things I myself will tell people multiple times in a tournament, even though I know it would be more beneficial for them to be down a leg or an arm. It's just not the way I want to win.
Yeah. Oh, you've done it with me plenty of times. And that's fine. And that's kind of where I've gotten to at this point, is if they are insistent that I shouldn't take it, I'm happy to give them the fight that they're looking for, because that could be the case. Just like what you said, is that you want to win that you feel is more accurate or worthy, or however you feel about it personally, which is great. I mean, everybody's got their little quirks about how they do this. So now we're real close, and I'm not too against that, right? Getting some move, trying to see what he's willing to bite on for me today, trying to sneak a shot in there on that little press. And then, yeah, I guess that angle is unfortunate because I can't really see. I'm guessing it came across the top of the shield or something.
What it looked like from my side. I've watched this video since it been posted on repeats. Not this section, but just all of your videos in general. What it looks like to me is you get clapped in the glove with a sword, and your shield comes down right behind your glove in that exchange when your shield's up right there. And I think that's what you felt, is your shield punching your hand, but it's so hard to see on this. It's
this is
hard to know.
This is unfortunate. And I know I've done it before, and the only times I can ever like really tell that I've been catching myself with my equipment is if I like look at it and I see it happen, where I see my, like their shot is clearly like out here on my shield edges into my arm, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool, that's my shield. Their sword's over here. It's not their sword. Their sword's not hitting me, because it's committed to my shield. It's hitting my shield, and I'm hitting myself in the arm. I also punch myself in the face a lot too with my equipment, so that it's unfortunate. But anyways, super nice, very cool. Awesome generosity. He also, I mean, it's not like the fight is off here when he's telling me that I can essentially pick up my gear that it wasn't a shot. I'm like, okay, let's get the shield. He could hit me here, right? Like this is it's an Iron Man. There's no pause button on this. So again, kudos to the honor. I go to sure up, tap up again with him because I think that's nice of him to do it. And I think that's pretty cool. Give him a little salute. It's kind of like doing that.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think it would be a super jerk move to tell somebody, "Hey, don't take that." When they go to lean down to get their equipment, you just smite them.
Goes into the cross. Now,
and again, you're off angles there, right? You're not
yeah.
in a straight line, and that's really the separation between getting successful movement on somebody and not. You cannot go at people in a straight line.
There it came. There's me trying to find something underneath that board instead. Fake sword side hip. And the angle is crazy because that doesn't look like that reaches his body at all. Like it doesn't look like it even touches him. So again, cameras are a hell of a thing. But he felt that it was there. There's pulling the next part of that shot. But great call on his part again from camera view. It just doesn't look like very much. Nice fake lateral and then
yeah, I mean, the camera view looks like there's nothing there, right? So it's always real hard to just tell somebody, hey, you're not calling shots due to a camera angle. Let the people that are there sort it out.
Yeah, I mean, again, I never complain about the like if he wants to take a phantom shot that didn't hit. I know there was no like it was his shield, right? Because his shield is misplaced or displaced. Right. It was trying to protect sword side hip, which I throw a lot, and I was faking previous to that. So it's not like I pushed a shield into his shoulder or something. The shot just must have made contact with him because
yeah,
that's just what that is, right? But yeah, so really quite neat. And then I guess we're just into the next thing again. We'll just kind of go full speed, and then we can slow down and speed up as need to be.
And look at that tunic that Brenda made.
Oh yeah, real sick. Making it look real slick. Sword side hip attempts. That's low bottom of the shield, kind of far away. Wasn't just kind of fishing for it. If I was going to get a freebie, I was willing to take it. It's not like a named shot. I know that Joe calls it arm here. Bruce said that it didn't hit him.
Yeah, I mean, in real time in the video, I'm kind of being mouthy out there too, because I'm like, I think that touched, because it looked and it sounded like it did. Again, you shouldn't let your spectators do the ones that are calling shots. Sir Draknar there with the chosen all black. He's the one that actually ends up calling the shot. But there were several people in the crowd. It's whatever. Again, it was a fun day, fun tournament. Sometimes you just don't feel it, and Rue is notorious for slapping himself with his own shield all the time. I mean, I've hit him with stuff, and it hits his shield, and he, shield hits him, and he takes it. So
well, and it can go the other way, right? This is the hard part about the thing that we do. It's an honor system. It's not a computer game. It's it's hard to tell, and when you can't see it, it's really hard to tell. So there's like two mentalities that you can take, and I fall on the side of generally probably too generous, which is its own form of problems of taking things that aren't necessarily a legal shot. Like that doesn't necessarily do people favors. And you can fall into the other side of the spectrum, which I'm not saying my opponent fell into the spectrum, but where you're being less generous or trying to be closer to what maybe is accurate and not taking that shot. Because if that shot was your shield, it's not a shot that you should take. Right? It just kind of goes both ways. And we've run into this with these domes, right? We've got the lip that sits on our shoulder, and generally you have to go off of feel. And sometimes those shots feel very convincing. And your opponent can say, nah, man, that was your shield. It wasn't even out of place, or I know it's not out of place. And like that, I see them chop it versus like wrap or flat wrap or like a big wrap or whatever. It's not behind, it's like in front, like right here on the front of my arm versus back here behind, like the top of my shoulder. But you could be wrong. You could make that call wrong, and it happens. And I guess that's what I'm getting at. A long-winded way to say that we all make calls and we will all make mistakes. I don't hold it against anybody here. It really doesn't matter. It's not a super big deal. But slowing this down, doing this fight, doing the thing. Did I get this at the right time? I might have. No, I guess we started So we started here. Okay. So we tap, getting some range. Plenty of people talk about how right now my equipment is low and misplaced in the middle of this fight. As he said, it's kind of casual, but I'm also pretty comfortable, right? Like, he's not jumping me right now. He's smiling. We're kind of doing the communication. There's a lot being said without being said between two fighters. And then now we're shoring up. We're getting ready and
And you're both going
this.
offline, right?
Oh yeah.
You're one of you staying online.
I didn't want him to get around me really. So I tried to stop him from getting too much. That was kind of like my first, keep him kind of trapped in the corner. It's good for me. And then eventually I was just like, okay, we'll just, so here I come chasing him here, cutting him off, not letting him get out really. It's like, okay, I wanted to set the pace of where we were going to fight. And then he made some good rotations, right? He's starting to get out at this point when I'm trying to get set up. And, without just chasing them or going back and forth, trying to stop him, I'm just looking for my shot now. So take my moment, like, okay, let's give a high fake, kind of lungy sword side hip. I guess that's the closest thing to a actual money that I can throw. There's a good example somewhere in here, but I'm just not very tall. So that's about as far as that shot goes. And then, he's moving a lot, yeah, we're both kind of feeling it out. Little half step there, trying to find my range, trying to find where I can step in. Dink. Now, the hard part about that call was in slow-mo and the camera angle and whatever, it looks like I get there. It looks like it could be shoulder. It could have also been a shot that wasn't very good. And in amp guard, that's weird to say, right? The shot's not very good because it doesn't have too much requirement. It's past the shield, kind of touches the shoulder. I remember, I'm looking right at it in the video, even that's the shot I was looking for. And that's what I felt in the moment that, yeah, maybe it had made contact, maybe it hadn't, but even after everything is said and done here, it may not have been very good. And angles are kind of weird. He's thinking about it. He's like, no. And I'm like, yeah, okay, sure. Let's just tap and we'll refight it. It's not a super big deal. If it wasn't good enough, it wasn't good enough. Or if it wasn't, for any number of reasons, draw cut, nicks, no audible pop, not 2 or 3, whatever.
And you notice the reeve, right? He does a audible. He doesn't say much with his voice, but beforehand he does kind of make a head jerk reaction, like, "Did I see what I just seen?" And then that's where the call comes. So in tournaments, that is the best etiquette, whether it is for funsies like this tournament was, or if it's real up. If the two fighters in the ring can't decide whether a shot was good or not, you absolutely let your reeves decide, and then don't argue with them. Sometimes the reeve will make a bad call. Sometimes they won't. Sometimes your player will make a bad call. Sometimes they won't. But I think the key to really moving forward with fighting is to have that communication and accept reeves calls when they do make them.
Word. And there's a time and a place, I guess, to be controversial, I suppose, where you should feel like you can defend yourself to some degree. Like you still have to have a voice. You don't want to necessarily be walked all over. I'm not saying to argue or to get into a shouting match with your reeve and everything. I'm not, perfect of this as over the years and whatever of playing. There's always, where it's heated. People want to do well. They want to succeed. It's hard. And my mentality has been developing more into this. Okay, cool. Let's just fight again. Whatever. It's not a super big deal, but I do like to try to be accurate about the fight if we can be, right? And it does suck to have a reeve make a horrendously bad call. If you've never been on the receiving end of that, this isn't necessarily you, Dizzy, the general you. It is a tough feeling. And
yeah, no, I've had it. Matter of fact, the man there, Sir Draknar, made a terrible call on me one time, and it literally cost me a Kingdom tournament win. Was I bitter about it? Absolutely. In hindsight, was it worth all the screaming and yelling that I did at the reeve? No. So yeah, you're absolutely right. You can have a communication. You can say, hey, I don't think it hit me. At that point, you bring in your opponent, and if your opponent thinks it hit and the Reeve thinks it hit, go ahead and take it and move on.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, at the end of the day, that you're losing time, and at least in this format, like the more time you spend arguing is less time you have to just jump back in line and try to get back in there to get more wins, specifically in this format anyways. But
Oh yeah.
I really appreciate that he communicated. And I've said this a few times to people is like, look, I don't necessarily care if you take or don't take the shot. I would rather you just vocalize what you think happened. Let me know so we can just continue. If I make assumptions, it's almost always worse. I hate having to assume like, man, I really felt like I hit him, but they didn't say anything. So I guess I missed, or maybe they're just cheating. Like I have no idea. If this, he could have said head, he could have said foot. I would be like, all right, right on, cool. And I would have just registered that he's communicating with me about what's going on. And that's what he did. So I have, high props to people who will communicate how they feel the interaction happened. And again, high props again. He wasn't thrilled for the Reeves arm call here. But whatever, he still was like, oh, okay, whatever, man. And then that's it. We went back to it. We fight. And it was like, shrug. All right. It's always a bummer. Again, I still respect the the attitude. So I'm willing to have tap the swords and still pay respect, pay love, whatever you want to call it, and just like tough break, dog. See you again. Whatever the case may be. I'll see you in like a minute.
Yeah, and exactly. So that's the exact opposite of what happened with you and Thad, right? There was a Reeve that was standing on that side. Thad thinks he doesn't get you with something that's enough. You think you got hit with something that was enough. Reeve doesn't step in. So it's kind of that fighter communication and Reeve communication. You know what I mean? Like it's all has to harmonize.
So then I catch a Simo there with Styles, which is fine. It was quick. It was real quick. I mean, without slowing it down, it's real hard. Basically what happened is we kind of fake and throw at each other, and we both kind of throw sword side hip. I catch him on the hip. He catches elbow into body. The body was great. The elbow was whatever, but it didn't really matter.
I'm going to preface this with, and I know you know what I'm going to say.
Yeah.
But one of you were late.
Well,
switching directions cancels the shot.
See now, and let's go. See, but that's the thing. Like that's really.
Oh no, it's real close. It's real close, and that's the atomic clock in me. But one of you switch directions.
Think and pop. Well, actually, even though does he beat me there? Like mine's just a chop.
Yeah.
But he beats me there. Like that's.
Yeah.
Let's take a look. I mean, again, this is at a quarter of the speed, so super duper hard on the.
Again, you guys made the right call real time.
Pop.
Right there. Yeah.
Yeah, real interesting. I think that the call for Simo is probably right, especially again, we don't have computers, we don't have cameras, we're not slowing this down to what's faster than we can process. Because in the moment, I felt like I had hit him first. He hit my elbow, and then it finished on my body. And so through my head, instinctually, I was like, well, is the body in time? Because he hit me in the arm first. I'm killing him, and then I'm getting hit. Was my perception, at least in the moment, right? Obviously, I still take the death because I'm like, whatever. That's beyond the scope of what I think could be accurate timing-wise. Plus, it's an argument waiting to happen.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, y'all made the right call. It's good there. I just like to, in those moments where there's two people throwing mildly different shots, one of them switches directions, one is late, by definition of the rule. But playing out the rule, it's absolutely great. You both called Simo.
Sigma just doing Sigma stuff here. He fought a real new guy, a 2-day newbie.
Oh man, he does something squirrely here in a minute, and where he drops his sword. Is that in this fight?
It might be. With Mark, like I said, I only watched this like one time, and I watched it while I was there, right? But so Sigma's using like a 33-inch sword too, which is pretty interesting. It's real short. Oh, he just gets caught over the shoulder. It was a good call. That's a good
Oh
call.
yeah, you lean back and forth that much, you're gonna get shoulder sniped.
And then Mark sneaking one in. He was real stressed out during this thing. Let's see what you guys' fight looked like here.
I'm gonna get sniped over the shoulder. Trade up and trade back.
He just had 3 extra shots after
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Oh, big hurt. Just bringing it. And again, good call on your part, because obviously, like, I'm just going off of what the camera angle, right? And I believe that, that you can make this call. But gosh, does it look like your shield's in place from this angle? Let's take a look. I mean, you're moving a little right for the lefty wrap, like that happens. Down a little bit. Oh, he snuck it in between your head and the shield. Ah, okay. Without
Yeah,
looking.
no, it was like the perfect shot. If you see my feet where they're angled,
And
it
block.
was going to go to his left-hand side, but that
Yeah.
first shot was just so perfect. That I was like, even you could see the disappointment through my mask. I'm like, oh man, I just got aced.
Even Ruben, you're like, yep. Gives you the little props on the way through. Well, I
But
mean,
yeah,
yeah,
Herc is living up to his name, dude. The guy's a monster. I can't wait to see him develop more.
this just needs to keep practicing, right? I think everybody's just rusty coming out of this, and rough trade. Yeah, I see. And in this case, I think he's worried about the ring out. Good, good Simo, but like, gosh, it would have been. I mean, he could have gotten some space from him and tried to sneak out the win. This format doesn't. You don't want a Simo in this. You really, really, really got to win, because going to the back of the line sucks.
Simo means two things. Neither one of you get a W, and you both took time off the clock.
Yup. Yup. Yeah. No, it's a real big bummer. So here's the rematch. Just sneaking his sword around down at the bottom into his little sword side hip kind of dark side thing. Yeah, the cowboy hat is a bummer. Honestly, that's I mean, I'm not trying to nitpick too much, but this does stick out real far off his head, right? Like that probably should have been addressed sooner. I'm not saying it was like a tremendous issue. Like, I wasn't here for 90% of this tournament. I just jumped into one category, but that hat got hit a lot.
Well, I mean, it's kind of a traditional thing, to be honest with you. These two guys would go into tournaments, boonie hats, cowboy hats, sombreros. You know, I hit my head, bro, or wear the shades and shake them off. Hey, it hit me in the face, bro. I don't know that Thad was doing that here a lot.
I don't think
But
it's
yeah,
I don't
it
think it's
did get
anything
hit.
intentional. I think that he is a bald man and it was hot and very low shade cover. Your answer is, hey, I don't want to have a burned head, because we could make similar kind of comments. I mean, I have a pretty low profile helmet, but it sticks out a little bit, and I try to be mindful of
Yeah.
that. I don't want to be like super hypocritical, but a cowboy hat's got like 4 to 6 inches of coverage on.
I don't know, Bob. That looks like 10 to 12 to me.
Oh, maybe it's more. I don't know how big his hat is.
I'm just kidding.
I'm just a poor North boy. What do I know about any of these dang dare cowboy hats? But yeah. So I mean, again, I don't want to just nitpick on it. I don't know how much it actually played a part. I guess again, another good call on his part, because I guess that snuck over. And I did look at this one again, like when I had watched this video a second time, and I was like, man, that's a good call, because that sure looks like that's arm, right? Like that angle looks
Yeah.
off. I mean, maybe his shoulder gets hit in that spot, but like, I don't know. Other part to comment on, I guess, this is kind of the neat part of this, is I make this like, so we're definitely on center. Like the camera is at an angle, so it seems like maybe we're off center, but like I'm lined up with him pretty much dead center to start this. And I make a pretty aggressive lateral right hand little half step followed by my lunge. I got a little airborne here because I figured the shield might come up or something. I do that sometimes if I think that they're going to try to block what is like my opening, like shoulder or whatever, like double board side. And it worked, but that angle I think was a big part of it too. And it's kind of cool to
Oh
see.
yeah, cutting him off and letting him have no room to work. That's going to be big, and you're taking away that dark side once you close that gap.
Yep. Stepping into that shot is a great, intercepting a shot while it's developing is really, really quite cool. So I don't want to just say stepping into it. Yeah, picking at styles a little bit here. This is the rematch kind of fight. I didn't want to just like get Simoed again because like it's, you know, it's too early. Maybe a little showboaty on the defense there with the board low, but like kind of plays into my my fighting a little. Oof, luck, not skill there. And what I'm referring to is where his shot comes in like at the hand instead of into my arm. Let's see if I can find that spot again, because that is I mean, it wasn't like I predicted that that was going to be out of range. Right, seeing if I can get a free arm. This arm's just kind of high. You know, wasn't giving up too much to give it a try. All right, and then here he kind of comes, moving my feet, trying to get my distance back, maintain the range I'm comfortable at. I'll do this sometime fishing to see if he'll cross, intercept the shot, trying to go back to his arm. Kind of bounces around in there. You know, probably not a shot. If it had even made contact with him, that's not a, I don't think that I hit him. I'm just saying like it wasn't close enough. It wasn't deep enough, or I wasn't close enough or deep enough to make that shot meaningful. Let's see if I can get the right part of this interaction. Nice and safe. I even added the extra coverage. Like this is up past my like cheekbone. Kind of crouched down, making the profile kind of small, prepared for maybe a leg shot or something there. He hadn't thrown any yet, but like we've only had one engagement, so I just wasn't quite sure. Got my distance, decided, okay, let's see if I can solicit him to get into this counter fighty thing. And I just screw the pooch. Looks like that could be close to body, but I'm using a 33-inch sword. In this, that's what I've been practicing with for a while. So there's just, it's unlikely that that's made it. I've been finding that I'm falling short of, well, basically 2 inches on hitting people, which is kind of neat. But anyhow, the lucky part, not the skill part. There came his shot. Hand was still coming back. It was just mostly luck that I didn't get hit. Hands high and back. Throws this kind of pick. It's just, he's throwing high at the arm instead of like the sword side hip. That might have been an improvement, as if he had just dug deeper towards the hip. I would have been probably in some trouble. I mean, I was kind of squared up ready. I could put my shield to it, but you know.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Whenever he was having that first big press on you,
yeah,
he was only about 2 feet away from ringing you out with your back foot. I don't know if you realized how close you were to that border. I don't think he realized it either, but I was really kind of hoping to see if he could continue that forward push on you, just to see if who was going to be more aware of their surroundings, right? And then just come up short on it. But if he would have continued with the press and thrown a few shots, that's kind of dangerous, right? Because you do have that wicked, deep, dark side when somebody's closing in on you. I think he just played the safer bet there.
Well, and sometimes that's okay. If his plan didn't work, leave. Like that's okay, right? Now, the ring to respond to that in the moment, it's hard to say. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. I would say generally I have pretty good spatial awareness, and I do like fighting in a ring. But it's hard to say in the moment. You would have had to ask me right then and there if I was aware I was that close. I think the only indicator would be if I decided to go forward, but I assume he decided to abandon ship, and then I decided to go forward on it. But anyways, yeah, to catch this again, I'm just trying to dig in for another kind of, for me, again, this isn't even that long a range shot, but for me, this is a pretty long range sword side hip, trying to sneak one in there. Had all the right things to be successful, other than the fact that just didn't hit him. And again, I don't feel like I had made contact probably with him at that moment. It's hard to say. Maybe it got there, maybe it didn't, but tough because I'm still kind of far away. He's got a shield on it. Again, lucky. Again, the range that I was at put his shot on the inside of my shield in front of my body. Terrifying. Again, kind of lucky. If I had committed a little further, maybe I killed him, but I also might have gotten killed. And I was very cognizant that I did not want to Simo with my opponent here. So I backed out, got some space, decided to reset myself, and he abandoned ship here as well. Again, a lot of trying to figure out where we want to go. I decided, okay, no more doing this thing. I remember thinking that very consciously because I don't always throw a bunch of legs. I end up throwing a bunch of legs, of course, in this tournament, but he was running away enough, running, not a derogatory way here. He was maintaining distance that I didn't like well enough where I wasn't able to get to where I wanted to be to hit him. So I took that away here and then I was like, okay, now we can start working. Put myself in a position, and this was very cognizant again, where I put myself in this position so that I had plenty of space on the right and left of my opponent so I can decide where I want to go if I need to. If I had continued to fight him where I had legged him, I didn't have a whole lot of space to go right anymore, which I like to do without the risk of being ringed out. So I was cognizant at least of the ring in that particular aspect at this particular moment.
And right here, your feet are primed to spring back forward. You don't have any weight on your front foot there, and that back foot is absolutely loaded in the position it is, so you could spring right back forward. And I believe that's what's going to happen right here.
Let's take a look. Little pick, still getting, yeah, and we're just sword side hip or through to that other live leg. He didn't make any distance, right? That little bit of pick, that little bit of step. It's hard to, and it's hard to make range when you're on your knees, which is pretty much why I did it. That's my apology tap on the shield for like, I'm sorry, bro. It's not very fun, which is why I'm not such a big fan of the legs. Again, this is the poor 2-day newbie. Lots of heart, because jumping into a tournament when you're that new is always hard. This is a classic little thing. I know this is our video's actually gone on pretty long, and we've only made it like 7 minutes into this 18-minute video. But this is like newbie killer, like Supreme 101 if people are looking to steal something real simple. Basically, look at their equipment and you can decide, if I throw high, even just a little bit, a nice aggressive pump, they freak out, their equipment comes high, and it's ass rap city.
And he's trying to leave the earth too, right? He's like, I want out of here. I don't even want to be part of this.
Oh, I need an insert. That is when he knew he'd fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
Ow. And that shield up and that sword side hip, board side hip becomes available all day. And this is 2-stick fighters. This is small punch. This is board fighters. This is basically, there's just a certain level of new player who hasn't been exposed enough to this stuff yet, where one good high one to body, it works all the time. Just there you go, kids. Something for you to try. Dizzy, let me know when you got to abandon ship on this thing, man. It's kind of gone on a while.
I'm fine whenever.
Cool, man. We'll just let it roll for now. It's like, oh no, not my second shot. So I got punished for reaching. I wanted to take Ivan's legs away. Coincidentally, I fought him a whole lot recently at some fighter practices, and I had gone out to their park when Ty was here visiting. Just trying to sneak that one in there. And it looks like I might have gotten that one, and that's like the reflexive second shot. And I was like, oh no, that's not right. Don't take that one. Just the first. And and that's okay. Like and then there he is pointing at the right leg, the leg that, so I would have double legged him, which would have been pretty cool. Because I never get to do that ever, which is kind of fun. But yep, it was punished for reaching for that second shot, or punished for not committing my shield enough. Just trying to get cute with a double leg, I think. And that is something because I fought him recently, and we've been talking a lot about legs, and I was like, I think I could just probably get away with being a little sneaky here. A little high fake into board side hip. That second little shot. Now this is important because I communicate, like I can turn the volume back on for the recording for this, but I can just paraphrase. Essentially what happened is I reflexively went for something that would have been a Simo to get a refight. And that's bad, as we've established in this format. Coincidentally, his shot comes into my fist. He throws a second shot, but he's late because he's already died. I communicate this very quickly, and I'm like, hey, first shot, I said fist, and your second shot that dribbled me is late. Or I believe it to be late. And I pick up my equipment and I go to fight the next fight. Now the Reeves have a chance to dispute it, of course. My opponent can dispute it as well. I'd be okay with that. Like, that's not a big deal. It is potentially this, it's a tournament. There's high pressure. Oh my gosh. But in this case, it was just kind of lucky. It was a kind of high fake to basically a left-handed sword side hip to throw at his leg, bringing my fist across my body back to where I guess the predictable response would be. Like, I mean, there is some semblance of it. It wasn't just luck that it worked out. It's luck that he happened to throw and it happened to be in that exact spot where the fist comes through. Hitting him on the leg, catching the block with my hand, and then his second shot just happens to be late, which is excellent and worked out. It turned into a pretty good streak. And there's the contact on that first part, which is awesome. And no dispute about it being a high profile glove, which I know some people like that. This is it's a tiny, tiny, tiny little glove just to keep my hand from getting torn up. And mostly I was stoked. Just like, sweet, I pulled out a win that I didn't deserve. That's how that went down. And my half-hearted attempt at a you fit me in the leg, I am crouching. It was mostly off the shield even too, right? I don't have to spend a lot of time on that, but yeah, no knee pads. Poor Sigma. This is a fun little combo. It's basically came through and have to go slow on all this. I know time's kind of tight. Caught him with the leg and then back up into an arm since he decided to throw high. Lucky me, no one could hit me in the head. You know, it's just like we can check it out for just a second because it is kind of funny.
I was gonna say, I think I bank a couple of headshots here on you in the next fight as well.
And again, about communicating, like with the sound on, for anyone who goes and like watches the video if they decide to, I'm trying to vocalize as quickly as possible. Again, we're human, so we can only go so fast, but I am telling him that he's struck me in the head. Catches just like off the shield, kind of low front leg, just like right below where that shield edge sits. I would say almost nice of him to let me drop in a safe manner, but he already starts there. And this is no shot at Noah. I admire his ability to do the thing that he does. I haven't even been able to get my knees to the ground yet. Like, and I'm dropping sort of slow, but mostly safely because again, no knee pads and the ground kind of sucks. And here he comes right with this combo, right? Which it's pretty brave. And just catch a block, get a free leg, block. Try to get a fake head, try to sneak underneath head again. He's like, okay, you've maybe killed me already. And I'm like, okay, cool. I'm still hitting him because, you know, in the moment I forgot my head. I mean, not God, my head because, you know, the helmet makes it less bad, but just high crosses, man. People do them all the time and it's a lot of head. He just had other options. I think that he could have played with like my other live leg or maybe going to sword side hip or just trying to bang, you know, but
yeah, big guys don't like being on the ground too much, so he probably wanted out of that situation quick.
Dropping my guard since you left the, you know, the range of our combat here. Trying something kind of snazzy to board shoulder. Nice faked across, throw my little cross back at you. Ballsy to put my equipment down here, hoping you'll throw board shoulder. Just trying to give you a little bit of something, get out of range. I'm like, okay, we'll drop it.
Yeah, and I even throw a little feint in there just to get back in a good stance.
Just trying to reach out, maybe see what you'll do, but you know, you left. So I'm like, okay, well, that's not working. Izzy says, no nonsense today. Here he come. It's aggression. Chop at the hand. Shoot the double leg. Catch that head to arm, and then turns out being okay because of the head to arm.
Yeah. And that was the thing too, though, right? Whenever I was throwing that first shot, we don't have to go back or not.
Yeah.
But whenever I was coming across, I'm aiming for where I believe you're gonna be. And you didn't make that entire full step there. So of course that's gonna go straight to your head, right?
Well, and normally I wouldn't shoot the leg with you because we don't practice with those. I would have shot for like an ass wrap there, and I would have had to step in a little closer, and that probably would have turned into a advantageous shot for you.
Right, absolutely. So that's part of that Rolodex. So when you fight somebody too much, and you don't think of all angles that are available at a time.
Breaking Angel's glasses. It's like, my bad. Can I move this, Angel? I'm so sorry. We don't even have to do this whole video, honestly. I think I die here in the 4 fights. and we have to be able to call it there because that's the whole line of people. So we've got to comment a little bit on everybody.
Yeah.
Angel. Like that's worth a rewatch here. So a lot happens. She gets a nice good early leg. Like I haven't hit her. Her defense is pretty strong, and it shows all that hard work she's been putting in. She hasn't let me get any freebies here with her, and I sure tried to hit her with some what I feel like was a decent enough shot, but try to get my leg. Look at that. Look how much she's learned. That's huge. She dropped her whole person. She's never done it with me. Okay. So this is where props to Angel. She's never, ever done this. She dropped that shield to the dirt to not get legged on her press.
And it was a solid block. Very good block.
I mean, look at that. Maybe foot. Maybe close to ankle at best. Again, videos lie. Who cares? I don't even care.
Not if you change the rules, kids. That's a valid shot.
Yeah, that's going to be extra stupid. They better not do that. That is the dumbest thing ever. Again, Connor, my dude, you're out of your mind. The guy's name is Connor Owens, I'm pretty sure. Bro, you're out of your mind. I will help you get past your board block. Hit me up anytime. Seriously. Jamie Buckwalter on Facebook. Death Lily Megatron Sunshine. We will get you past this because it's not that hard, I promise.
Because I don't want to die in real life.
It's just unsafe. Like the safe drop that I'm trying to do, like in this video, I'm just going to lose all day, or I'm going to have to slam my ass into the ground as hard as I can and probably still lose. Like,
yeah, for sure. No, I thought it was very opportunistic to go ahead and bring that up right now, that if we did change that rule, right, that changes the complete interaction right here. Even that's a good block all the way down. You run the risk of all sorts of problems with feet, but as you mentioned, not to take away from Tesla, that's an amazing block for her not wanting to get legged.
Well, and it's such a great change from her specifically, right? Because we could talk about like technically she's given me her whole back, right? But I believed 100% I was going to get this leg because from like the Rolodex thing that you brought up, you old man. Well, kids today, what's a Rolodex? Well, Rolodex is basically where you keep all your numbers and it kind of rolls and you can check your contacts. In this case, whatever. Anyways, so my Rolodex for her is that I get free legs. She doesn't block them. That's not how her primary form of practice. This is, something she and I have worked on and jokingly so. And we've fought tons of times, so many times. I can't even count the number of times. And so I believed 100% that this would have been like, so what she did would maybe technically have been a risk. But you could almost guarantee that I was going to throw it because that's the interactions we've had. So she can take that risk. But anyways, super proud. What a cool correction for her. She still gets her press. I'm like, oh crap. She tries to get the other leg. Cool. Now she does give me some push here. It wasn't such a big deal. I didn't mind it. It starts to move me a little bit. So I got to make some adjustments, to get back into a comfortable position. And it was fun. It was a lot of fun to have that fight with her.
And if she comes back and watches this fight, Tesla right there is what I'm talking about. When you get that press, even if you're making a little rub in his race in there, I'm all for it. But some people aren't. If you get that press, if she chokes up and she does a flat wrap on the outside there, worst case scenario, she walks out of Simo. Best case and a high percentage, she's going to walk out a winner because you're already lagged, right?
Yeah.
And she's going to trade elbow for side.
Well, and it was great. It was really, really cool. I just stoked for her. I don't think that the amount of pushing she did was necessarily outside of the realm of what's probably legal right now in V8. It's questionable about how much I was moving to try to create distance and how much she was actually pushing me. She did feel like she had pushed me too much. Close. I probably wouldn't have minded. Somebody somewhere might have minded.
Yeah, for sure. You push me like that, I'm gonna fall down. No, I'm just kidding.
They cleated me.
Yeah, right. I'm bleeding out of my spine.
And then I think the Mark 1 and I take a minute here. We'll just get this back into full speed here. He and I fought tons of times, right? I was trying to set up a plan. I kind of had an idea. Honestly, I wanted to spin on him real bad because I hadn't thrown one yet and I had a nice little streak going. So I was like, it's kind of feeling hot. I was like, okay, how do I get to the board side hip? Thinking about it. I'm like, man, I looked at it right there. I looked at it. I was like, oh, maybe. But I don't know. Danger senses were tingling, man. Call me Spider-Man. I was like, nah, he's gonna get
Yeah,
me.
it looked like he was kind of bracing for it with his upper back, anyways. That he was expecting that spin and wanted to check out hard. Um, but the good thing about Mark too, and this is a good thing depending on who you are, the guy can be real brutal if if he thinks you're trying to clown him. He'll just throw some power shots in there. Not saying that's what would have happened here, but he was definitely not wanting to be made a highlight reel, right?
Oh, for sure. And when it's a tournament, again, that's usually a terrible idea, is to try to throw the snazzy stuff. But this is kind of a classic interaction between the two of us here now at this point. I lead with like my kind of opener, trying to intercept what I expect will be his shot, because he generally throws some kind of chop or wrap about where my arm and shoulder is right now, in response to somebody just kind of throwing into what I assume he thinks is going to be like the lefty hip. So I kind of felt for it and was like, okay, well, he didn't go for it. Bend the shit out of my sword on his shield. Definitely didn't get to body. Trying to protect my arm. You get the shield all the way across there. You can kind of see that he's looking straight over me right at this thing. Like, my profile is pretty small, but dangerous, right? There it goes. Whoof. And there's this classic interaction that I've really, and this is thanks to all of our practice over this COVID time here in the backyard. My fist is intercepting his chop while I try to sneak in between his face and his deltoid to catch him on the top of that shoulder. Pull it back a little bit, whatever, that's fine. Kind of coming back to guard, still in pretty good guard. His hand's nowhere near where he can hit me in the board shoulder, so I'm just not worried about that. I can commit my shield across my body here. And I felt like I had made contact with something, arm or whatever, and I was like, go for it, right? I hit a shield and then try to finish on the arm there at the end. Whew.
And the look away, can't touch this.
Well, I was checking the ring maybe, but
yeah, no, I don't think there was any disrespect there, but there was definitely hey, I'm looking away. Dusty day as well.
You know how there's no disrespect there with that fight with Mark? Because I gave him that fight, right? Like that much. I threw all the best stuff I could think. I used the knowledge I had against him as an opponent to try to get the win. I took it serious. I didn't just come in. I didn't end up clowning on him or trying to throw something very flashy. Went to something that has become a very high percentage shot for me because of the practice he and I have had. Like that credit for me being successful there is to him, because we got to fight enough for me to learn how to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've seen people try to go over the top on him like that, and he just punishes them.
Oh yeah.
It's just, as you say, if you're not putting in a lot of time fighting somebody, and you're not really 100% sure with a good shot, or get that shot down, they're going to punish you. Mark is really good at blocking that out and just smashing you on your right hand side, your sword side afterwards.
Oh, absolutely. This is the example of my best imitation of a like a money shot, as I would define it, versus like a sword side hip that I would throw. I'm basically a step further away than I would ever be, or where I like to be. And I just start to pow, super deep, super bendy, shield over my head. And just like, there you go. A little flourish in there that I kind of like for the fake. That's not the same. Oops.
Not gonna lie, real time when I seen that, I thought he was just gonna walk away with an arm, and then he was walking away, and I was like, oh, that got deeper than I expected. Because my angle, of course, is from the Deadpool. Was maybe body.
Oh, absolutely. And it may have been body. And so I had the same suspicion, actually. Like, this is why I did this little bit of like tap, touch the sword, because if it was his whatever, then I can at least protect myself. And now Scorpion has never struck me as the guy who would be like, haha, I gotcha, and would put that sword in his other hand and stab me in the back as he walked by. Like that, he strikes me as the guy with way more honor than
I
that
don't know
guy.
about honor, but I'll do it.
You might, and that's exactly why I went out of my way to make a little contact, just in case with this sword, so I could make the argument that, hey, I hit your dead sword, man.
I don't blame them. Hit them until they call dead.
Oh well, and that's part of this. Like, I'm a nice guy. I don't know, but I did give myself a little protection with a little tappy tap on the sword on the way out. Mostly just also saying props for taking a good shot, or for making a good call, or a generous, or what I perceive to be a generous call in the moment. Um, and then this streak's almost done here, which means we'll probably wrap this video up. I didn't mean it to just be the me show on this, but we've run a super long time talking about a 18-minute video. So Ruben told me no, that he didn't feel like that had hit me. He's like, oh, come on, man. And I'm like, nah, it's fine. It's fine. I'm already down, you know. In that case, I do like to let them tell me to stand back up, sure, but I'm like, I'm already down. It was fine. It was good enough. Hit some belt, but like it was there. It was there. And then I'm looking to pick something, right? I want to catch free leg if I can. Pop, 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 sword side hip off the head, kind of flopping around on my shoulder shield-ish area, kind of after he's dead. Now, the part that kind of gets missed or lost in the sauce, and it's hard to say whether this would be a shot, right? But it's something that at least was intentional. And again, this isn't a, let's call roux out, because I'm looking for this combo foot to leg arm here in this particular shot. And slowing it down is, whatever. Here's the advantage of cameras, I guess. There's the leg, boom. Okay, cool. Now here's his arm coming out, right? I'm trying to protect my arm. I'm going to bring the sword up into the underside of their sword arm, right? There's the leg arm combo, boom, boom. Kind of easy combo, pretty safe, worth the risk here, because if he wants to throw all the way across to my leg or something, I probably get to hit him. And then there's that nice little like underneath. Now, whether that doesn't register with the opponent or it really wasn't as good as it felt, that's also fine. Like, again, I'm not calling him out here on this. It's a flurry of shots in the moment of fighting, and shit like this happens. I mean, it may also not have been the 2 of 3 things in the moment.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the other thing too, right? Is whenever you throw those quick combos like that, you absolutely have to be prepped for your opponent to register what just happened. Some opponents need a couple of seconds. Some opponents are like 3, 4 shots down the line, and they're like, wait, I actually got hit back here.
Yeah. And if that ever happens to myself, I do try to let them know, like, oh, no, sorry, dude, I feel it. Damn, I just didn't know. Or I didn't realize, or whatever. And generally I throw it. But in any case, again, this isn't to call them out or to say anything like that, but that's the combo. And that's what I was looking for. I think it's kind of neat. So anyone who wants to steal it, you're a monster. It's not my combo. I didn't invent it, but leg arm throwing combo nerds. But anyways, whatever, we get some little contact, I catch a little hand block there. He's still kind of throwing. Okay, just patient, reset. Sword side hit, boom. Nice and deep. I can't make the angle with a step, so I make the angle with a body. Drop my whole body so I can still get my angle. Hopefully he still moves his equipment for me. Ends up working out, which is kind of fun. Sword side hit from your knees. Woo. And then last fight of my thing, probably last fight of the video, we'll do some little closing stuff here. On our way out, trying to feel this out again, kind of throws. Now this is where I was done, right? Like, that leg was completely avoidable, but I felt like I was far enough away to not get caught. Started to drop my equipment to reset my mind. It's a bad habit to get into. I wouldn't recommend it, but it's part of the casual nature of how this tournament went, I think. But this is just far too close. I mean, I took a half step, sure, so I felt safe, but I could have just switched my sword foot back and gone back to good defensive stance and board foot forward. It's kind of like hanging out, boop, doot, and caught with that. Tried to chase him down with a leg, catch my own. In hindsight, that's still pretty risky. If he had punished me for it, I would have lost right there in that moment. I missed sword side hip, kind of fall over. Kind of sucks. And there it was right there. He catches me just about on that 5. Again, he felt like it wasn't super hard. It wasn't super hard in that moment. Again, the shot doesn't have to be super hard. I keep saying that all the time. But it's in the realm of one of those ones where lots of people are like, I just don't feel like that was a shot. It didn't do 2 of 3 things. In this case, it was fine. I'm like, yep, nope, that's it. I'm down. He's like, you get hurt? I'm like, no, I'm good. It's all good, man. Hey, good fight. Good win. Basically, I just collapsed on the fight. So no injury, just happens. Yeah, man. Anyways, that's essentially the tournament. Basically the last the camera just kind of ran for a while. I forgot that I was recording. But Theddergan and I go on to tie, I think, for it, and I had the longer streak, so they gave me the win for the category. Personally, I would have preferred to just fight it out 2 out of 3 to settle up. Just because I like to do it that way. It feels weird to say like because I had a better streak that I was the winner of that category that day, but whatever, we'll take it. I barely pulled it out because I don't think I do anything else after this. Basically, I maybe win a fight or 2 tops, and that was it. I was pretty sure with his little streak that he goes on here that he had won this tournament at this point. And I was like, yeah, I can't catch him because I basically throw the next 2 fights. Actually, did Thad lose to the kid?
They Simo out. Yeah,
Simo out. Okay.
And again, that's where that lack of caring going into the tournament, just walking through.
Oh no, they gave it back to Thad.
Yeah, I think that in the moment I thought that was poor time. You can kind of see me in the background. I know there's a camera, so I go over and mumble to myself behind Draknar. Just mainly because I hate when that mess happens. Like if you're calling somebody dead, you're calling them dead. Just move on.
Okay, so I don't want to. Oh yeah, you're absolutely right. If you're calling them dead, call them dead. And they actually did this throughout this tournament. From at least some of the stuff I saw, they're like, "Nope, too late. You guys already called it. Too new." And so it was a little interesting to throw him back in the pit for this. But
in the third bracket of all things,
in the third bracket of all things, which since Mark tied Thad overall in points for this tournament, this also could contribute to Thad. Now, I guess Ivan beats him here, but because of the format and the way that it's done, this could have cost somebody a tournament win in this particular instance because of the extra opportunity to get wins.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, I don't want to jump out yet, actually, because Ivan has a little run here, and I think it'd be cool to chat about it real quick, and then we can 2 minutes. We don't have to talk. We can just like let it run as it runs here. But here, okay, so Ivan gets his little shot here at Thad, which is cool. You know, he's moving around a little bit, goes high, gets that cross, gets the leg. I guess the cross came over to the body, but hey, good follow up on the leg. Now he just jumps this guy right off the bat, right? They tapped. He's barely into this ring. Catches that cross, gets the cross to arm, gets to the back, throws an extra back just in case, extra baller. Now there's a Sigma again, high energy coming in. Sigma throwing the AK there.
Yeah, and I really like what Ivan does here. I do this myself when I'm controlling the ring. Like if you own the ring, make it as small as possible. If the Reeves are telling you to back up, then back up. Is it a jerk thing to do? I don't know. Is it a thing I'll do all day long?
If they don't want you to do it, then there's ways that they can handle that, like saying you must go to your neutral corner after each fight. You can't start fighting until you've tapped swords or something, you know, whatever the case is. Like there's other issues that can fall into place there, but
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So if you're asking me, my opinion is
if
you can make a short ring, do a short ring. Do it until the Reeves tell you not to.
Well, there is an advantage to taking away your opponent's mobility, right? Like that's always going to be a thing. And if you can get them trapped in a corner, especially a corner where they die if they step out, it is cheesy. And I mean, okay, how bad do you want the win? And I guess is what it comes down to. I'm not saying like I want the win bad enough to do it myself, but it is a winner mentality.
You know, and I do it for 2 reasons. One, it is a winner mentality. 2, it makes the people running the tournament rethink whether those boundaries should be hard boundaries, soft boundaries. And with this smaller people, there's really no reason why we have a ring at all. It should be.
No one was going to go running off probably here. This is pretty much the only shade of this very limited spot. I will say I am thankful for the rings for certain opponents, and it's not generally the dudes that are like I hate to say top tier, but let's say the veteran enough guys who've been doing this long enough who just don't really want to sprint across the field anymore. Because I definitely so this is why I wanted Ivan got another shot here, and I feel like he beats me legitimately. I got asked several times about even by him like that I hit you. I was like, yeah, you hit me again. smart on him here. I'm trying to see if he'll do anything. Like he's not really picking, he's crossing. Try to go to that shoulder, try to drop to the hip off that. When I try to drop to the hip, so basically, yeah, he catches me in the leg off my shield.
Mhm.
So I take my sort of lungy drop. I mean, it's not a step. I'm just dropping to my knee and try to throw sword side hip to just end the fight. And he catches me on the top of the forearm so gently. Gently enough for him to be shocked that he made the contact and hit me, and enough for like me to go have a conversation with Torque about it, and just anyone else who was like, I didn't see you get hit. I'm like, I mean, that's enough, man. That's how I take the shots here. That's how I take shots in general. So like, it just is what it is. But it was great. It was a good combo on him, and it was good patience on him, and he made good spacing. I was impatient. I dropped into a sword side hip. I should have just turtled up, tried to come up with a plan. Instead, I just reflexively went for a sword side hip and got myself killed. It was
Yeah,
awesome on
for
his part.
sure. I mean, it's awesome for him. And the other thing I would like to point out here is outside the internet, and I think the Dallin, he doesn't have any like heavy hitters that are showing him what to do, right?
I
That's my
mean, yeah.
understanding, anyways.
I mean, he's
So
he's working with the other guy out there that's been pushing with him is no con or no confidence, I believe, or
okay,
no confidence. Is that what it is? No contest. No. I'm sorry, no con. I know it is no con, so you can correct me later if you want. But he's out there as well, and
checking the
they.
boundary line there.
Oh, you gotta be careful with the boundary line.
Yeah. So yeah, no confidence or no con or non-com, and
Did you post on this? Oof.
yeah, I
And
post.
you pulled the dead leg off.
Yeah,
Oh, because it was the last fight. Right, right,
right.
right. So it
Yeah,
didn't.
yeah,
Right,
yeah. It's like
right, right, right.
whatever, it's last fight.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, like I say, big props to Ivan. There's a few guys in the kingdom that I think are really digging and trying to get better. Ivan
Yeah.
comes to top. Herc right now, I think he gets a few more components together, and he's just going to be a monster in all fields. Um, I'd like to see Inferno back, but hey, this is the first, I guess, tournament. Well, not tournament, but event um, with the COVID season winding down. So
Yeah.
I think as
Well,
more people
we
get vaccines or
we had
vaccinated.
we had quals or whatever, and that was pretty well attended. But you're right. Yeah, absolutely. When COVID winds down, I think we'll get as it's winding down, we'll get back to normal here. And I think you've pretty much hit the dudes. And this is no offense to anyone else who checks this out. If we've missed you and you feel like you're on the up and coming like circuit for, you know, the sword thing and you're working, sorry if I missed you. That's absolutely not the intention here. There's lots of dudes that are working really hard. So, that's just a testament to how hard everybody's working. I'm terrible with names and I probably would have forgotten anyways.
Oh yeah, and from my perspective, it's exactly the same, right? No offense to anybody else we're not naming, but whenever I see dudes, and dudes is guys or girls, um, these are the people that are showing out right now, making improvements. Tesla, for example, making improvements with the big blocks. Ivan just overall seems to be trying to make tournaments, trying to make an impression, really making smart fighting decisions. Herc getting more and more patient, putting together fundamentals. Those are the guys that look like they're pushing right now. And if you don't look like you're pushing, then show up more. Show me wrong.
Well, and that's really the case. Yeah, especially for the people that are getting talked about as, these badasses and whatever. Well, I want to see you. I want to play. Like it's no, I'm not trying to flex. I'm not trying to measure anything like that. But I just like sick. This guy's good. Like yeah, I definitely want to fight him. I'm just excited to fight. So like, but if I'm not seeing him, it's hard. I want to see these guys. And I can't necessarily speak for Dizzy on this, but if anyone decides that they've enjoyed this and they would like us to do this again, we're more than happy to find other videos to talk about or specific people to talk about. Or if you send me videos, we can always talk about those things. And if you have questions, comments, concerns about anything fighting related, always feel free to hit us up. I am sure that we are more than happy to give you some time and tell you what's up, especially if we're at an event fighting.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Look forward to the next one.
Killer. All right. Well, thank you guys. We will have this up and running, and it was a good experience. We'll maybe pre-watch some things next time before, and then that way we can kind of jump around or pick specific moments to really vibe on. But
I'm gonna figure out how to get a Madden pin where I can, and pow, right here. It really
that would be so cool. But thanks again, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. We will catch you next time. Let's stop the share and kill the record.